Their lives this evening following a gas leak at a service station in their area. Despite the intervention from the fire department, the residents argue that it's not enough as they're not convinced the situation is under control. Shamela Pullen reports.
It's like a recurring nightmare for residents in Lucy, Hanover, following yet another gas leak from the GV service station, which is located in the area. When TVJ News arrived at the scene late Tuesday, an entire area was covered in fuel. But after an assessment by the fire department and the National Environment and Planning Agency on Wednesday, the owners were given the clear to resume operations. These residents are incensed.
It's irritating at times because even in the house, you can smell it. Because the earth is so oversaturated, the gas has even seeped through and come under the building and coming up now out of the earth, as I can see it right there. So you basically have to say that there is gas everywhere under the house right now. Basically, if it's coming up through the earth on the other side of the building. So it's definitely not safe. Definitely not comfortable. Even sleeping at night, because as you know, to how it is right now, anything can happen. If somebody is smoking a cigarette and passing by and probably throw the butt at the wrong place right now, you never know what can happen.
Emilio Ebanks is the public relations officer at the Jamaica Fire Brigade. According to him, based on the information gathered, there was an overflow of diesel fuel. However, he says that type of fuel is not as dangerous as the other types.
They had a broken main, a broken pipe which leads from the holding tank to the pump. That situation was remedied, but the recent heavy rains they are suspecting would have caused some of the fuel that was the residual fuel to have run up, come to the surface, and spilled over onto the roadway. So the brigade was called in, and we used some sawdust to mop up the situation, bring the surface back to the way it was.
But the residents are not convinced enough is being done to properly address the situation, as they claim it is not the first time this is happening.
This is probably the second time it's happening. A report was made initially, so it should have been fixed. So I'm not sure why the issue is still happening.
Mr. Ebanks says a warning has been issued to the operator of GV service station. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Now, we contacted the operators of a GV service station for this story, but they declined to comment. In a primetime news follow-up now, an autopsy on the body of Kevin Smith, former leader of the Pathways International Ministries in Montego Bay, showed that he died from injuries he sustained in the October 25 crash in St. Catherine. It was a similar finding for the policeman, Constable Orlando Irons, who also died. The autopsies were done at Archer's Funeral Home in St. Catherine today. Kirk Wright has the details.
The sudden nature of the death of Pastor Kevin Smith left many speculating about the circumstances surrounding his demise in the accident on the Linstead bypass on October 25. Now, the autopsy has finally put to rest speculations by many that Kevin Smith's death was caused by some mysterious reasons. The autopsy on Monday showed that Smith died from multiple blunt force injuries. Simply put, those are injuries he got from his body banging about on parts of the vehicle during the crash. We were not told where on his body he sustained the injuries, only that his injuries were consistent with that of a motor vehicle crash. Indicom, along with an independent observer hired by Smith's family, attended the autopsy. The independent observer did not want to talk to us, but we were reliably informed that she too was satisfied that Smith did not die by any other means. The autopsy of the police constable Orlando Irons, who died in the same crash, showed that his death was also caused by multiple blunt force injuries. The policeman's family and Pastor Smith's family were present at the autopsy. For the entire 45 minutes that the autopsies lasted, Smith's family tried their best to stay away from the media. The two males who were present wore ski masks and the female wore a mask and a scarf. There was a small police presence in anticipation of a possible crowd that many thought would have flocked the funeral home. There was never a crowd at the Archer's Funeral Home in Spanish Town. Only family members of the deceased, the police, and others related to the proceedings were present. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
A fight between man and nature. Firefighters in Montego Bay, St. James desperately attempt to rescue these soldiers trapped on Orange Street in Montego Bay Monday morning.
About 5 years now, yeah, man, when Gully did flood out, same time. Yeah, man, this water now move for right now.
And even as the firefighters respond to this emergency minutes away, this boat was the only means of transportation for their colleagues at the Ironshore Fire Station. It's the peak of a morning of devastation after heavy rain pounded the western city for hours non-stop, leaving sections of the city underwater.
When me lay down like 10:30 by me want cupping. When I hear the cupping and by time, me if you look out, the water lick off the door, come inside. When me look down there, so the water is there like 3 feet. The coach start float like a canoe boat. I couldn't do nothing. Man try to rescue myself.
So what did you do?
Jump out.
You run out of the house?
Yes, when me come out, the water lick me to the house side. Lick me. Me climb on chain link fence, that is my neighbor fence. I'm a bother for help.
Businesses were left at a standstill. Guests at this small hotel had their vacation cut short when the flood water rushed in.
We had to move all our belongings out of the guest house where people were staying, but everyone's safe. That's all we're thankful for, and just hope everybody else in the area is safe as well.
In other sections, newly built roads were reduced to rubble and drains were blocked by debris.
We also have a situation by the Unity Hall roadway in the vicinity of the Guava Walk community. There was significant washdown silt along that particular section which blocked the road. The team was mobilized to have the blocked roadways cleared.
State Minister in the Local Government Ministry, Homer Davis, and other local authorities made a trek through the communities to assess the devastation.
But just looking, it will be a tidy sum to have these areas rehabilitated. Tidy sum. And so I will have to report to the Deputy Prime Minister and my minister also, because some of these roads are parochial roads.
But flooding in St. James is a perennial problem. Year after year, the drainage system in the city is tested and failed. 1963, 1993, 2017. But why is this happening over and over?
Today, we had an issue with the South Gully. The South Gully has two, what we call trash racks, two catch basins that take a lot of solid waste, and from going into the channel. These trash racks were solidly blocked.
According to communications manager at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, the drainage system was simply overwhelmed.
We have managed to reopen the main road, which is the road from Montego Bay to Negril, and that from Montego Bay to Falmouth.
He explained that some roadways have since been cleared. Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
It's the first day of school for many infant and primary school children across the island. Teachers, parents and guardians are hailing the Ministry of Education and welcoming students who they haven't seen at classes in months. Jamila Maitland visited a few schools in the corporate area.
Children scurrying to classes for their first face-to-face interaction with their teachers and peers in months, but not before having their temperatures checked, their hands sanitized and their masks properly positioned. It's the new normal. At the Central Branch Infant and Primary School in Kingston, only certain grades were facilitated Monday morning in keeping with the COVID-19 guidelines. But that didn't stop parents from sending their children out anyways, according to Principal Michael Sutherland.
There is one grade 2 class that some children for today didn't come, but others came who are supposed to come tomorrow. We still accommodate them.
Alvin Howard, a parent, said he was so excited for his child to return to school that he didn't realize he should have returned on Tuesday. Mr. Howard revealed that the last time his son received formal education was in kindergarten. He's now in grade 2.
I feel so good, and some of them, you know,
don't have on uniform and some of them have on uniform and everybody try come out to come at school, and it's the best thing because it's so long at home, not doing nothing boring. So coming back to school, come learn now is a total different.
Parents explain that schools in these communities not only offer education, but a safe space for their children while they work. Over at the Trenchtown Primary School, the story was similar.
We know the students that we have here. The parents, really, they don't have a regular 9 to 5. They are out there where they have to go and look their own. They are really entrepreneurs, and most of them, they do peddling downtown. So if they don't go out, the kids don't eat. So with that, someone needs to be available to take care of their children. And I think we are the best one.
Several COVID-19 protocols have been implemented, from child-friendly social distancing markers to an isolation unit that the school hopes it never uses.
The hand washing stations appear to be one of the favorite places for children here at St. Annie's Primary School. It's one of the many protocols that have to be in place for the school to be selected for the resumption of face-to-face classes by the Ministries of Health and Education. Now, on the inside, learning is also in high gear. Teachers have gotten creative, turning regular desks and chairs into sneeze stations. There's also the mandatory wearing of masks, so children can return to the classroom safely.
I prayed day and night for this opportunity. It was not good. I had only 30 to 35% of my enrollment online, which is about 79 students on a daily basis, and my enrollment is 262 or 260, you know. And on a daily basis, when teachers send in their attendance, it's like 5 out of 23 students being online. So it was really, really difficult for us.
Only grades 1 to 3 were facilitated Monday, while grades 4 to 6 will go to school on Tuesday. But not all schools were able to welcome students today, despite being given the green light from the Ministry of Health. Over at the Boys Town Primary and Infant School, Principal Sylvia Banks-Clare says work is still being done to get the school ready while online learning continues.
I'm looking that before weekend, we should be able to call back the Ministry of Health in so that we can get a clean bill of health.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
Up first this evening, the Health Ministry has withdrawn a particular brand of COVID-19 test kits imported to Jamaica. This comes after the government received an alert from the World Health Organization, WHO, raising concern about the product. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton addressed the matter in Parliament this afternoon.
October 13, the Health Ministry said the WHO surveillance system for substandard and falsified products alerted it to the potential presence of unregulated COVID test kits in the island. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the kits in question were manufactured in India and were being sold at a price much lower than the average for this type of product. The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, requested that the ministry launch an investigation.
The ministry complied with the request, and it has identified that the SD Biosensor Standard Q COVID-19 antigen test kits manufactured in India was in fact present on the island and was being used in the marketplace. The importer of the Indian manufactured product was contacted on October 13th, 2021, and instructed to quarantine the product and to provide the ministry with samples of the products warehoused, which was delivered to the ministry on October 14th.
Dr. Tufton says the kits are now being assessed to see just how reliable they are in detecting COVID. The ministry should receive the results from that assessment later this month. The specific test kits had been given emergency approval by the WHO. So what's the problem?
The site that was approved, however, was the South Korean site, which is the original creator of this particular kit. Subsequent to that, that very same kit, or the kit bearing the same name, was outsourced to be manufactured in India. And the Indian manufacturing process was not approved by the WHO. And an importer brought in those kits from India.
But concerns from the opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Maurice Guy.
And if you look at the WHO site, it says that these have been assessed and were found not suitable. That is on the WHO website. So, Madam Speaker, I do not know what to accept basically in terms of what we are getting as an answer for this dereliction of duty on the part of those at the Ministry of Health and Wellness who are there to protect the interests of this country.
This particular test kit, Madam Speaker, has been withdrawn from the market, and we will do the validation exercise to determine what the status of accuracy and effectiveness is, and we will not consider the kit being available unless the situation changes with the WHO's recommendation.
Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.